very first conversation of the evening. Now, on the 1st and the 2nd of September, Botswana will host the Local Manufacturing Summit 2025. Since its inception in 2023, the summit has promised to cut imports and boost local industry. But 2 years now, or rather this would be the third year, with manufacturing still stuck at about just under 5% of the GDP. The question is, has it delivered real impact, or the country is still facing the same obstacles? With Stanbic Bank backing the initiative alongside Botswana Chamber of Mines, could this be the year finally of marking a turning point? Joining us in studio is Mr. Joseph Ramotsabi, Senior Project Manager of Botswana Chamber of Mines. Good evening and welcome to Botswana Tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, and good evening to the audience.
I think the question really is right there in our intro. Contribution still at under 5% of the GDP. This is the third year of the summit. Are there any real results that we can speak to, whether be it structural, be it economic? What have we seen? What is the sort of impact that you think you have been able to make going into the third year?
Right. I think what I can say here, particularly looking at the contribution of the manufacturing sector onto the GDP, is that if you recall, or if people can recall, when we went to the first edition, the contribution of the manufacturing was at around 2.5, and we have seen a steady growth to around 6% now. And we are not going to attribute this growth to the summit itself. Obviously, there are other organizations and agencies that have also been driving a promotion of the local manufacturing. But all we can say is that, yes, indeed, we are seeing progress in terms of local manufacturing. From whoever is actually making effort, we have moved from 2.5% to where we are looking at 6%. And within our targets, or we feel we are still on road to actually get to where we want to get. Our aim is really to be able to be in the 2 digits by 2030.
Okay, but perhaps the question could be key learnings from the industry. What are the issues? Why? Of course, you indicated there's been a growth of about 3.5% to get us to 6%. You speak of other players that have been able to push this. But what are the real issues in moving the needle forward as far as manufacturing is concerned in the country?
Right. As Botswana, we come from a background where we've been more into trading, where most of our entrepreneurs, they buy stuff from outside and they come and sell here, they respond to tenders. We identified that as early as 2013, 2014 from the Botswana Chamber of Mines perspective, and we decided that we will actually develop these entrepreneurs and turn them into manufacturers, because they already know the products. But we wanted really to get them to actually to go into manufacturing. So we launched a program that was called Supply Development Program in partnership with UNDP, which then we trained most of our suppliers to the extent that we were happy with their performance. And when we now decided that we were going to drive local manufacturing, those were the first cohort that we actually approached to motivate them to go into manufacturing.
Okay. It's interesting you speak of the partnership with UNDP, who are also partners in this year as well. Let's just talk about some of the key learnings then, having taken those that are your products from the SDP, and we could also throw in SIP as well.
That's right.
The learnings that we have from those in terms of what needs to change, be it from a policy perspective,
right.
What needs to change, be it just from a knowledge and a skills development perspective.
Right. First of all, in fact, what needs to change is that there is no business without a market. So most of our entrepreneurs and our manufacturers, we're really trying to drill them and show the importance of market. And to get to the market, you'll have to have off-takers. So we've been banking, if we are talking about the Citizen Economic Empowerment Program that has been driven by the mining sector, coordinated through Botswana Chamber of Mines, we've been actually utilizing our mines purchasing power to support the few companies that have been established. And we've been appealing to the public sector and the private sector to utilize their purchasing power also to create market for these manufacturers.
Okay.
And we believe we're still far behind in that. What needs to be done is that we need to get a buy-in from public sector, private sector, in terms of committing their procurement spend to the local manufacturers.
Perhaps now, because we're really here to also talk about the third local manufacturing summit, perhaps let's just talk about what is different then about having laid the ground for us. What is different about this year? Quite often we see these summits, they come and they go, and we pat ourselves on the back, deeming them as successful. What is different about this year over and above bringing industry players and policymakers under one roof to have conversations?
That's right. First of all, maybe it's just to say the Manufacturing Summit is a platform that we use to showcase what is possible from what people and we think was not possible. It's a platform where we showcase manufacturers who are able to manufacture things that we never thought they could be manufactured locally. We showcase the companies and the abilities of local companies to manufacture products. Therefore, what's different about this third edition is that we've been focusing on industrial manufacturing. But now we've also now started promoting agro-processing, which is part of manufacturing, where we're saying there are high cash crops that can be produced and can be processed and can be exported and can be consumed locally, but after adding value. As opposed to just taking grain and just exporting grain as it is, we have to actually look at those that are producing maize, getting into really cereal and other products that can add value, and then they can be exported.
Okay.
So there's a new component of the emphasis on agro-processing.
Does this then suggest that at this particular conference or summit, we are then going to see perhaps those that are within the farming ecosystem? Does it suggest that you're going to find new partners as well coming on board, such as BEMA as well, forming part of these type of conversations?
Yes, we are going to see, first of all, we are going to see producers or farmers that have actually been facilitated to form clusters to focus on what we call high cash crops that they are processing and they're able to export. And those that are actually producing, processing, and for also domestic market, we are going to have an opportunity to see and meet and have an interaction with the off-takers of these products coming from outside the country and those that are coming from this country. We are going to have a session that is talking about a session for off-takers. Off-takers are people who actually buy to be able to say, this is what we buy, and this is the quantity we're buying, and this is specifications of what we want, talking to various people that will be attending the summit so that from there they know what they can go and produce.
Okay. Quite often, again, speaking within the space of producing and also being able to export, there's the all-important conversation around the Africa Free Continental Trade area. I'm curious to find out, as part of the conversation, what it is that through the summit you are able to facilitate and push forward to ensure that as we speak of manufacturing and seeing, I don't know if the regrowth or the rebirth of manufacturing, but we also see that there's that export that we all talk about, being an export-led economy.
Right. One of the companies that we've been working with developing to grow in manufacturing They are already exporting to some of the African countries, and they're exporting to countries that we have always considered them to be very complicated, like DRC and Nigeria. We have some of our manufacturers who have now been able to penetrate DRC and Nigeria, Namibia, and we're saying we want them to be able to share their experience and insight into how they manage to move from Botswana to be able to lend their products in such markets.
Okay. Manufacturing is one of the things that everybody now talks about. It's the one thing that will take us to the next phase of our economic growth and diversification away, particularly from the over-reliance on diamonds. But from a BCM perspective, what sort of manufacturing here are we talking about? If you are giving us examples of people moving into DRC, into Zambia, in what specific areas of manufacturing are these entities coming from?
That's right. Most of the manufacturers that we have on our portfolios, they are predominantly citizen-owned companies that have started from scratch to manufacture commodities. And they are able to address issues of import substitution, where they are now manufacturing items that we used to import, and therefore a lot of consumers in the country, they are buying from them. Just a typical example is where we had an investor, that a citizen investment group, that ventured into manufacturing of industrial gases. And they are now producing those industrial gases, and they are also now exporting those from Botswana. And industrial gases are used in the mines, they are used in the hospitals, they are used in various areas in the industry. And we used to be net importer of those. Now we are net exporter. And those are the progress that we are seeing. Okay.
Now, you earlier on you did mention that the vision here, or the goal, is to have manufacturing, contribute in the double digits towards right, the GDP by 2030. From this third edition, what exactly are we doing to ensure that we get to that goal of double digits? What is the expectation from this edition?
There is a great opportunity here, particularly in the, let me just put it clearly, agriculture has got vast opportunities to take this country from, when you're talking agro-processing, from single digit to double digit. In the sense that the food chain has been distracted worldwide by the wars that we hear of, and therefore there is an issue of food security. So we are already working and with different groups that we have recommended them to form clusters and be able to produce commodities that they can get off-takers locally and internationally. And we seem to be getting there, and those groups will be presenting at the summit. They'll talk about the commodities that they're doing, and they'll talk about the market opportunities that they've secured outside the country. And that alone talks about jobs, that talks about their viability, that talks about contributing to the export-driven economy that we are envisioning as a country.
You talk about presentation, and one may wonder, these presentations, besides the investors themselves, whether they be local or foreign policymakers, who else is at this presentation? Who is the summit meant for beyond the entrepreneur or the policymaker?
One, we want this summit to motivate other citizens that have not ventured into manufacturing. We want the citizens to know that it's possible. We want the citizens to know that if their fellow citizens can do it, they can do it. So it's a way of it's a platform where we want to motivate citizens to actually venture into manufacturing. We need manufacturing in this country. It creates jobs, it promises economic growth, and hence we still have very few handful of manufacturers. We want to see a number of citizens that can actually go into manufacturing. We are not only talking about citizens. We are talking about foreign investors that can also come and set up and manufacture locally to ensure that they can contribute to the economy as well as the employment that we're looking for.
Are there specific incentives or programs that you then have, particularly for young people and women, to either be facilitated within the manufacturing space and, of course, the agro-processing opportunities?
Yes, we don't have financial incentives. We facilitate. Therefore, citizens that comes in, or companies that comes in, and investors that comes in, there are quite a number of facilitating agencies in Botswana. We're one of them. The BITC of this world will help you or facilitate you. SIDA will facilitate you. LEA will facilitate you. BEMA will facilitate you. Business Botswana will facilitate you. And we're saying there are ample opportunities in terms of getting support for citizens and non-citizens to get into manufacturing. The platform is there, it's available. You're not only looking at Botswana Chamber of Mines, there are other organizations that I've just mentioned. And we don't seem to see Botswana taking advantage of those, apart from just probably just considering financial incentives.
What are the challenges then, in your expert opinion, why Botswana are not taking advantage of these opportunities?
I think we have not shared a lot in terms of information sharing, which is why now we have actually decided to have this platform that actually expose and provide information. And we believe that the progress that has been made so far with the first and the second edition has actually given people a bit more time, more information. We're starting to see a lot of youth, even women, coming in and looking at opportunities to get into manufacturing.
Okay, as we come to the end of our conversation, perhaps just talk to us about what else is exciting, other than that there's an agro-processing element that has been added. What else is exciting about the third edition?
The third edition, one of the things that is exciting is that we are really going to talk about the benefit and the advantage of really dwelling on what we call off-take agreements, where we are saying there's no business without the market. And therefore, we're going to apply and have a full presentation on that. And we write both public, private sector, and the parastatals to come and actually see the unleashing of the potential of take agreements.
Okay. You say we are going to talk about and we are going to present. Summits, again, are criticized for just being talk forums.
That's right.
And yes. So what do we do to really ensure that there's implementation, that we actually see a movement and we see progress and we see fruits come out of these conversations?
Right. In fact, there's a very, very good observation. Part of the summit, that the local manufacturing summit, we share updates. At the second edition, there were key issues that were discussed. We have taken a portion of them to get them addressed, and we'll be sharing on the progress on those.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was our interview or our conversation with Ray Joseph Motsabi, Senior Project Manager of Botswana Chamber of Mines, speaking to us about the third edition of the Local Manufacturing Summit, which is coming up on the 1st and 2nd of September. If you want to know more about what you can do as a citizen, as an investor, the opportunities that are available, you can follow them on their social media pages. Up next is Benson Puteho with the news in Setswana.
I want to assure you that we are working really hard to strengthen